So I apologise to those of you who are watching this on YouTube. To explain it quickly just what happened, Starcraft 2 crashed as I started my broadcast. So as it is, I'm going to do the player introductions again. Sorry for those of you watching on stream, but the YouTubers need to hear this. So we have our blue Protoss spawning on the west side of Antigua Shipyard. He is Team Carnage's MXFive. And spawning in the east, we have our red Protoss. It is vs.SFanta. Okay, so that's done. Anyway, for those of you again watching on YouTube, again, sorry for those of you watching on the stream because you've heard this before. But this is the third in the 2012 preview series. This is episode 94 of VocTerGaming, and I am your host, the vocal terrorist, Jesse Rain. If you've just joined us, what this series is about right now is A, testing the stream, two A's because everything's going wrong today, A number 2, otherwise known as B, is testing Starcraft 2 again because for some reason it's decided to crash when I want to record. And C, it's to let you know what kind of things are going to be happening in the next year in terms of VocTerGaming. The YouTube channel will still be there. It will still contain videos every Tuesday through Friday of pro games, depending all around the world, of course. Sometimes it'll be Team Carnage, sometimes it'll be MLG, sometimes it'll just be Battle.net replays. We've got a replay just from Battle.net coming to you tomorrow. That's going to be I Am Nesty versus a mystery opponent that I will announce tomorrow. So get ready for that. Of course, the stream then that I have set up, that's at twitch.tv/VocTerGaming, which is currently dropping 17 frames. Thank you very much, stream. Hopefully that's not too bad for you guys watching. If it is, I will sort that out for tomorrow. But anyway, the stream will be for streaming Team Carnage stuff. When there are players in tournaments, I'll be trying to stream those. I'll be streaming regular monthly tournaments. At the very least, we will have one tournament a month going on there. That'll be on a Sunday evening, and of course will be archived for your viewing pleasure. Beyond that, we will also have special guest interviews and stuff. I'll be running replays like I'm doing now, like with MXFive's replays like I've been doing this week, but I'll have MXFive with me on Skype or Mumble, and we'll have him talking about why he chose what he chose, talking about his strategies, talking about his history. Again, for those of you new to us, MXFive's real name is Martin Cross. He's a 16-year-old Starcraft 2 professional player for Team Carnage. He plays 16th at I-44, that's the huge UK Starcraft 2 LAN, and he was beaten in the IPL qualifiers by none other than one of the single greatest players in the world right now, that is Millennium's Stefano. So this is not a guy to be sniffed at, this is a good Protoss player. He is now, as of this season, in Masters, looking to hit Grandmaster very, very soon. Hopefully, of course, maybe the next season, maybe the season after. It does take a while because of the limit of 200 players. For those of you, again, who don't know, I keep saying that a million times, that appears to be my new catchphrase, but I have a lot of people who watch this who don't watch any other StarCraft, who don't play any StarCraft. So, Master League is pretty much the highest league you can get in. The only league higher, as we see both these players builds mirroring each other almost perfectly. That's really nice to see. The highest league you can get in is Masters, apart from Grandmaster League. But the Grandmaster League is locked in at the beginning of each StarCraft 2 season with a limit of 200 players. So it's very, very tough to get into. But of course, once you're in there, it's very, very difficult to again fall out. So hopefully we'll be seeing some Team Carnage players in there within the 2012 year. So we have an observer coming out from vs.vSFanta, and MXFive's Robo is about to finish. That's here. We will see what he chooses to produce out of there. I'd like to see an observer from him as well. Will we? Yes, absolutely perfect. MXFive also following that up with the Twilight Council up here. So that's going to be really interesting. This is the first time these two builds have really divulged from one another, which is something you often see in mirror matchups, especially Protoss vs Protoss. Notice no expands yet. Early expands just do not seem to happen right now in the PvP scene, which is fine. You know, you don't always have to expect them to. It's very, very hard to take expansions, especially with 4-gate rushes. Still quite common on the ladder, from what I hear anyway. 4 gates are still pretty much one of the big norms there. And we have Blink now on the way from MXFive. That's nice. What is he going to produce now? Is he going to produce Immortals? Or that's pretty much his only choice. He could go for a Warp Prism. He has shown usage of that drop play in previous games. Again, now we have Fanta taking his Nexus at the expansion. That is a good move from him. And look at that, MXFive just a few seconds behind. But of course he has that tech advantage and he has the Twilight Council up. His Stalkers are going to have Blink. Whereas as we can see here, Fantas right now are not. That is going to be a huge advantage. MXFive is going to be able to keep so many units alive with Blink. And now as we notice, we see what Fanta was saving the money up for. He's going for Robotics Space. He's going for Colossus. I'm not too sure on that. Giving the benefit of the doubt to Fanta here, as the two observers follow each other. vs.Fantas is trying to get that kill from the Stalkers, and MXFive's observer goes down. That's a big deal. And another observer, in fact, on the way from Fanta. So definitely going to get plenty of observations going on, which is absolutely perfect. But anyway, benefit of the doubt going to Fanta, who will be getting Colossus very shortly from the looks of things. I'm not too sure how well that plays in this matchup. I haven't watched many PvPs. Most of the PvPs I watched were before the update made it an interesting matchup, where they were just 4-gate rushes. So that's going to be interesting to see. Meanwhile, MXFive is getting a Forge up. So going to be able to start upgrading. Interesting. I'm not sure what I'd do at this point. Normally, I like to see Protoss get the +1 armor first. But he has mostly Stalkers out right now, rather than Zealots, so I'm thinking +1 attack would be better to make these Blink Stalkers a much better harassing force. And of course you can use Blink to keep them essentially as a +1 armor, to keep them alive for longer. So I agree right now with going Protoss Ground Weapons level 1 first. I think it's a good upgrade, and that is going to give MXFive such an advantage. He's going to have a ton more Stalkers, they're going to have Blink, they're going to have +1 weapons. Of course, they can blink up into the main base, and it looks like he may be about to do just that. The observer up here is giving him vision of that high ground. So right now, yes, there he goes. He blinks up into the main. Going to try and snipe the robo. That would be huge. He's not going to get it, though, unless he tries to target it down completely. But no, in fact, is forced to retreat. Blinks out of the main and gets the hell away. Loses the observer, unfortunately. That's a shame, because that would have been brilliant. If he could have taken that robo facility down before any Colossus came out, that would have been a huge delay to Fanta's plans. Meanwhile, he does have extended thermal lance on the way, so will be building Colossus. That is a definite, although it's pretty much a definite when you saw the robotics play, because there's not much else you're going to do with that, unless you want to make pretty fast observers or warp prisms. As it is, that robo facility shields will heal up. MXFive dropping 5 pylons, and I note that he's got them in nice places like here and here, so he has the ability to flank, he has the ability to put forward pylons down, perhaps from this probe. I like that. As we see, Fantas is pretty much all in base right now, and I'm just not a big fan of that. While it's safer, and look at that, charge on the way from MXFive now before the first Colossus is out, so he is going to be making some Zealots to tank. Going to use charge to get them in there before they can be taken out by the Colossus, because of course with that blink attack he saw exactly what was happening. And look at this from Fanta, he's over here now. He's so worried about that robo bay being sniped, the robo facility rather being sniped, that he has got his units right on the edge of the base here instead of up here, instead of advancing and leaving his base. So that is some huge map control right now from MXFive, and of course map control is so important in this game. The more scouting you can deny your opponent, the further ahead you are going to get. And we have a Templar Archives going on along with another gateway. So from the looks of it, MXFive is going to go his normal route of Stalkers, Archons and Zealots, with a few Sentries mixed in and a couple of Immortals. So that's going to be really interesting to see how this stacks up in a PvP rather than PvT or PvZ. I'm very, very interested to see how this goes. Both players kind of backing off now. Fanta, of course, is worried about his home base still. He's getting up a decent sized army. You want to wait until you've got 2 to 3, I'd say 3 Colossus, before really pushing out, before they really start to do enough damage to make it worthwhile. MXFive, meanwhile, is getting that Warp Prism he loves so much, and that is going to be very interesting to see what he does with this. We've seen him use it in 2 ways. We saw him use it to harass in our first game, in our vs.Terran, and now, in our second game, we saw it used as essentially just a forward pylon, and now it seems we're going to see it used as harass again. So we have 2 Colossi out right now for Fanta. Quite a few Immortals he has. I think 4 Immortals there, 3 Immortals, a bunch of Stalkers, and he's going to move out and engage MXFive, but MXFive wisely blinking back, pulling his army back, waiting until Fanta is off of that high ground so that he no longer has the advantage, and there Fanta pulls back. He knows he would have been vulnerable to attack right then. MXFive is going to lose these 3 Zealots, which is annoying, but not the worst thing to ever happen to him, as he pulls all the way back to his base and somewhat safety with this 1 cannon right now, really just using it for the close rallying point, dropping 2 more cannons. He's slightly worried about this push, but I think that's fine to just get some cannons up. They're not too costly at this stage in the game, and their economies are pretty much equal. Now we have this forward pylon here as well. Now Fanta here taking this base, but meanwhile we have Zealots in the main base of Fanta, dropped in by that Warp Prism, warps right in on the probe line, forcing Fanta to bring in some Zealots to stop it from happening, and instead Fanta loses all those Zealots and is now losing probes. Oh, that is so bad for Fanta. He's going to warp in even more units, or in fact bring in the Colossi back, which delay that attack even more. MXFive getting 5 workers there, so the worker count not too hugely significant. However, what mattered was some slight loss in mining time and bringing the army back out of the centre. That gave him time for these cannons to finish up. It gave him time for more units, and we have ground weapons level 3 on the way now. That is huge. No armour upgrades whatsoever, going full on weapons, just wanting to smash through his opponent. Now what Fanta needs to do is to finish this Nexus and hold it. He needs to get that 3rd base economy up. He needs to deny MXFive anymore. And if he can do that, if he can contain MXFive to 2 base, then he may just pull this. But right now MXFive is moving out, and he has the upgrades, he has the army composition that can take this. Zealot, Stalker, Archon, Immortal, very, very powerful. And honestly, I'm not sure if Fanta has what he needs to take it down. He's still only got 2 Colossi there. He has 2 more joining them now. So 4 Colossi may be enough to turn the tide, but I'm just not sure there's enough ground units there to tank it. I'd like to see more Zealots out from him. And now a huge engagement. MXFive, though, with the high ground advantage, is going to get the best of this from the looks of it. His charge lots now diving right into the fray, tanking the damage there while the Immortals dole it out along with the Archons. Huge splash damage there. Colossus now getting some hits in, but losing the Colossi from the blink forward Stalkers. And in fact, he's going to lose everything. Fanta's supply count is dwindling. He's losing every single unit right now. Meanwhile, MXFive gets further and further ahead. Fanta GG's, and MXFive takes the Protoss vs. Protoss in what I think, in fact, I would say was his best game of the 3. I think he just played really tight. He didn't overexpand. He didn't overproduce. Absolutely fantastic play from him, and I'm really excited in the future to go ahead and do a lot more work with him. So, thank you very much for watching. I will of course be back live on twitch.tv/VocTerGaming tomorrow at 7 PM London time with our show match of the week, featuring none other than Incredible Miracles Nesty. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the archives on www.youtube.com/VocTerGaming, and of course come join me in the forums at scforum.eu. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.